Tsutomu Miyazaki was born on August 21, 1962, in Itsukaichi, Tokyo, Japan. He came from a wealthy and traditional family that owned a local newspaper. Despite his family's financial stability, Miyazaki's childhood was marked by loneliness and rejection. From birth, he suffered from a severe physical deformity. His hands were fused to his forearms, preventing him from bending his wrists normally. This deformity made him the target of relentless bullying and destroyed his self-esteem at an early age. As a child, Miyazaki was quiet, shy, and withdrawn. He avoided social interactions and preferred to spend his time alone, drawing or reading manga. Although socially isolated, he was intelligent and achieved good grades. His goal was to attend Waseda University, one of Japan's most prestigious institutions, but he failed the entrance exam. This rejection deeply affected him and marked the beginning of a disturbing transformation in his behavior. During his teenage years, Tsutomu became increasingly detached from reality. He began isolating himself in his room, obsessing over anime, manga, and horror films. Over time, his interests grew darker. He started collecting pornography, especially involving children, and his fascination with macabre themes intensified. At home, his relationships deteriorated. His father, busy managing the family's newspaper, was rarely present, and his mother was emotionally distant. Miyazaki felt completely ignored and disconnected. He worked as a typesetter for the family paper, but the job was mechanical and meaningless to him. Things worsened in 1984 when his grandfather, the only person he had an emotional bond with, passed away. Devastated by the loss, Miyazaki performed a disturbing act. He kept some of his grandfather's ashes and consumed them, claiming he wanted to keep a part of him inside. From that point on, his behavior grew increasingly unstable and erratic. By 1988, at the age of 26, Miyazaki's mind was consumed by violent and sexual fantasies involving children. That year, he committed his first murder. The Murders, 1988-1989. Between August 1988 and June 1989, Tsutomu Miyazaki kidnapped and murdered 4 young girls aged between 4 and 7 in the Tokyo and Saitama regions. His crimes horrified Japan with their brutality and perversion. His first victim was 4-year-old Mari Kono. He abducted her on her way home, took her to a secluded area, murdered her, and performed sexual acts on her corpse. He then mutilated her remains, kept body parts, and took photographs of the crime. In October 1988, he struck again, kidnapping 7-year-old Masami Yoshizawa. The same gruesome pattern followed: abduction, murder, violation, and photographic documentation. In December 1988, he kidnapped 4-year-old Erika Namba, killed her, and left her body in a rural area. His final victim was 5-year-old Ayako Nomoto, murdered in June 1989. He burned parts of her remains and kept her ashes and hands as trophies. What shocked Japan the most was not only the killings, but Miyazaki's actions afterward. He sent letters and postcards to the victims' families, often containing disturbing messages, details of the murders, and even fragments of the victims' remains. He also kept extensive photographic and video documentation of his crimes in his apartment. Arrest of Tsutomu Miyazaki. On July 23, 1989, Miyazaki was finally arrested. He was caught by a father who found him attempting to take indecent photos of his daughter at a park. The man confronted him, and Miyazaki tried to flee, but the police apprehended him shortly afterward. When investigators searched his apartment, they discovered a scene of unimaginable horror. Over 5,000 videotapes were found, a mix of horror films, anime, and pornographic material, including recordings of his crimes. They also found human remains, bones, and personal belongings of his victims, such as clothes and toys. The revelation shocked the nation. The media labeled him the Otaku Killer due to his obsession with anime and manga, sparking a nationwide moral panic and discrimination against the otaku subculture in Japan. Trial and execution. Miyazaki's trial began in 1990 and became one of the most notorious criminal cases in Japanese history. Throughout the proceedings, he appeared detached and emotionless, showing no signs of remorse. Psychiatrists were divided over his mental state. Some argued he suffered from schizophrenia, others believed he had multiple personalities, and some classified him as a sexually sadistic psychopath. Miyazaki himself claimed that an alter ego he called Ratman was responsible for the murders, a fictional entity he said had taken control of his body. Despite his insanity claims, the court determined that Miyazaki was fully aware of his actions and that his crimes stemmed from sadistic pleasure rather than madness. In April 1997, Tsutomu Miyazaki was sentenced to death by hanging. He appealed several times, but all appeals were rejected. On June 17, 2008, after 19 years on death row, Tsutomu Miyazaki was executed at the Tokyo Detention Center. He was 45 years old. The case of Tsutomu Miyazaki left deep scars on Japanese society. Beyond the sheer brutality of his crimes, it ignited a national debate about social isolation, mental health, and the dark side of Japan's rigid and repressive culture. Miyazaki became a chilling symbol of loneliness and obsession, a man who, unable to cope with rejection and alienation, descended into a world of fantasy and horror.